Sam, can I deduct my testosterone?
People need to know that you're here to help them.
It's important to have those tools without constantly going into debt. The LLC is one of the most versatile entities that we have in the US. Let's say someone slips and falls at the gym. It really is the mindset. You don't get a lot of leeway. You can't get by not having accounting and taxes for the rest of your life if you truly care about your financial well-being. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Financial Fitness. I'm Sam Razban-Nia, the fitness accountant. I'm here with Rus Tolentino, personal trainer at Flex Gym in Woodland Hills.
Thanks for having me here, Sam. This is our first ever podcast. This is the first time we're actually conversing outside a gym setting, so this is pretty cool. The whole reason we decided, making this just because, we have such different polarizing professions. I feel like we can offer the viewers or whoever's listening, personal trainers, or if you're just somebody getting into, being a personal trainer or a gym owner, I feel like Sam has a lot of insights, especially it's tax season. So
Tax season, guys. So we thought it would be perfect. I specialize in gyms and personal trainers and bodybuilders, and I thought who better than my own coach right here to, start off tax season for the fitness community and professionals to understand, what they need to do with their taxes and finances and how they could benefit from knowing more accounting knowledge. So
cool.
yeah, let's get into it, Rus. I also want to get to know Rus and everything that he stands for and what's up with him. So, first question that I want to ask you, Rus, is in terms of client relationships and expectations, when you first meet a client, what is your what are the values that you want them to understand with your relationship?
Okay, so I've been personally training for about 5 years. I've worked at, commercial gyms. I've worked independently. Right now, I'm working independently. I think that every personal trainer should have an assessment with their client, and it's not just for the client. It's not for you just to sell the client, a package or a coaching service. I think it's very important to actually get to know your client. Okay, so when I first meet with a client, 20% of that whole session, should be just about training. Everything else you need to, I like to humanize myself. Most importantly, just because, you want that client to feel comfortable with you. You want that client to kind of be open with you, so you're not just, talking about protein and biceps the whole entire time. You want to, ask them about your family, what you do, like how long you've been doing that. So that way, when you guys do become, a client trainer, when you have that relationship, they can kind of communicate everything with you a lot better. So I think for me, initially with a client, I like to humanize myself first and foremost. Yeah. All that other training stuff that comes, over time. You learn your client over time. You're not going to know your client initially with that first, hour. You're going to learn their behaviors. You're going to learn how they want to be trained. Do they like to push themselves? How is their relationship with their food and diet?
So I have a really interesting scenario for you. So let's say a client comes in and, they say, Rus, I'm hiring you because I have a wedding in 5 weeks, in 6 weeks.
Right.
I need to lose 25 pounds. What do you got for me? How do you manage that, and what goes through your mind?
What goes through my mind is, well, I like to establish where it is. Like, when they say wedding, that's a key word for me. I was like, okay, where is this in your priority list? How important is this to you? Because sometimes people come up to me and then they say they want to lose this much weight. I'm like, okay, like I'll help you out. I'm more than happy to. If they're willing to give 100% to me, then I will give 100% back to them. Because in the end, like if you're out the gym, I can't control what happens or what you put in your body. I can only control what happens in that hour, and I need to find out where they fall in I guess, how important it is for them. So I need to see how, where they're going to be able to prioritize that. Are they going to be able to, you know, if that birthday is around, are they going to be able to, stay on track? Like I said, if they have, a terrible relationship with food, are they going to binge? Are they going to feel bad if they have this or that? Are they going to be able to communicate to me if are they going to tell me if they had something? So I need to be able to find out where it falls in their line of priorities. Okay. I mean, if it is high in their priority, for example, like they have this wedding that they go to, okay, like I can work with that, and if they, people fall off, and it's my job as a trainer to kind of remind them, what their why is,
Okay. Yeah. And this guy has pushed me plenty a bit. So let me tell you.
I mean, honestly, like you did great. I'm very impressed. Like throughout the holidays, like I've had, I've coached several people, but it's very tough to put someone in a structure throughout the holidays just because there's traveling and, there's family stuff. I mean, kosher.
Exactly.
So that's something we had to work around as well. But then you did a great job communicating with me, A lot of people, when they check in, they don't really give me any biofeedback, or they'll just give me no feedback at all. They'll just send in, their check-ins and then their weight, and then that's it. Like I need more information before I can make some sort of assessment or any, adjustment to their plan or anything like that.
And full disclosure, guys, he's going to be my prep coach. So bodybuilding show coming up soon.
I feel like I established a good baseline with you already. I feel like you have an idea of how it works, what to expect.
Easy version.
I feel like I did. We were very loose. And I think that's what's important for people who are, trying to maintain a good body fat level or just a healthy weight. Because we did it very slow. The slower you go into this process, the slower you move, I feel like the more loose that you could get, the more mistakes you can make. And I feel like for longevity and an adherence, I feel like that's the number one thing. Just as slow as you can. Everyone wants to lose everything so quickly. They want a shortcut. I feel like in my experience as a trainer, like the longer you go, the more you're going to adhere, the more healthy habits you're going to, form.
And something that I tell you, you taught me on day one when we met is be your best self. And that definitely has, carried me. Especially in this age of body dysmorphia and everything that we see on TikTok and IG, it gets really difficult to have a clear mindset about, what you want because you see everybody else. But that really hit home for me because I said to myself, I am my own person. So I need to be able to see what's the best track for me.
Exactly.
And I know what I want. And with the facets of discipline and consistency that we always hear in the bodybuilding realm, you will get there to be your best.
I love that you understood that from the get-go.
I mean, it's
I feel like not a lot of people I tell them that every single time, and just to make sure that we're managing expectations. And I feel like not all of them really gets what that means, be your best self, because I can't make, they'll show me a photo of how they want to look, but I've gotten that before and I'm like, okay, so you want to, lose, you want to tone up, or what they say, you want to lose some body fat. Cool. But I can't make you look like that person. I can only make you look like yourself, but better, and there's nothing wrong with them. At the moment, it's just that, everyone has goals. Everyone wants to be better in some spots. And I think that I can only make you look like a better version of yourself. Can't make you look like anybody else.
There you go.
Yeah. And I make sure I tell that to all my clients, new oncoming clients, that, this is how it is. I like to be 100% real with them. I feel like they'll just trust you more. There's some trainers out there who will promise the world to you, and I can do this, I can do that, I can get you ready for this in this much time.
30 pounds in 30 days.
Yeah. and maybe they could. Yeah. Maybe they could. But the thing is that if they're promising you in that short period amount of time, I feel like it's just not sustainable. you need to form habits with that client. And for me, I just want my clients to be able to, at some point, if they're not with me, to be able to adhere to their own diet, to just make better choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's become a lifestyle for me. And that's what I think a lot of individuals don't realize. They always want that quick, 3 months of let's get it off. And, after that, we don't have to worry about our weight anymore. Let's just get off the weight. And then we can go back to our old routine. And it's like a quick fix.
Yeah.
So it depends on how bad you want it too,
Yeah.
But when I'm, able to be honest with you, you give it right back. And I see what the realistic, aspects of our training and nutrition.
Yeah, it all comes down to that initial assessment, really.
Yeah.
It really does. A lot of trainers should definitely take that initial assessment very, very seriously, because that's going to dictate how your relationship with your trainer and that client is going to be later on. And as a trainer, my job is to, clear up, some, I need to give information out there that's, that's accurate. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of crazy claims, even, I guess, people with PhDs and like all these credentials, like some of it could be misleading, and it's like, who do you trust?
That's the difficulty of this thing too, right? Everything we see on TikTok and IG again, right? You see thousands of CPTs and
so many people who are good at their jobs, great at their jobs, and it's like, who do I listen to?
Who do you listen to? Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're such opposite, polarizing claims and assertions on a single subject, the population like me that doesn't know anything about fitness says, "Oh, how do I navigate this?" But luckily, I have you, and I'm, I've learned a lot through being in this fitness community for a while now, and kind of know what's BS and what isn't, to the most part.
I mean, I'm still learning myself as a trainer, which is the beauty of it. I don't know everything, and I'm very comfortable with telling my clients like I don't know something. Or if I don't know, I'll tell them, I'll find out for you, or somebody who is more, knowledgeable in that area than I am. And like, I'll go ahead and ask. I don't want to mislead you. I'm not just gonna, I'm not afraid to say no. I don't know. Okay. Well, I mean, what about you, man? So like, you're the fitness accountant. I mean, how long you've been in accounting? What got you into fitness accounting? What got you working with personal trainers and gyms?
I've been an accountant for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
It's a decade is quite a bit of time.
That's a milestone.
Yeah, it's almost a decade now. And the reason I started in the first place was I've always been a numbers guy, but it was the client aspect that really got me. I really enjoy talking to people, understanding their finances, and seeing how I can help them. I always say that accountants and therapists are two professions that know very deep things about a person. I need to know everything that they do in terms of, their family expenses, like who's in their family, what they're doing, what they need in order to properly help them. I would say about 5 years ago, I was at a really low point, if I'm being honest with you, in my life. Physically just feeling awful all the time. And I hit rock bottom one day, and I said to myself, something needs to change. So went and got into a gym, and honestly, the rest is history.
You hired a personal trainer too, I heard. Yeah.
Personal trainer.
Yeah.
He was able to teach me the basics of what lifting is. I had never touched a dumbbell, honestly, until that point.
Really?
And yeah, I had never. If anything, it was always, endurance exercises or HIIT kind of things. But I touched the dumbbell and I said, this hypertrophy stuff. It's good stuff.
It's
fun stuff.
It must be, just challenging to kind of like, I feel like everybody has that low point too. especially. Like, it's just like some people, I've had clients tell me, like, I'd ask them, like, what made you, like, get up and be like, seek a personal trainer? And their answers are pretty interesting, and it honestly, some people just at varying degrees of like low points, because some people have like these crazy health scares, to where like, oh man, like my doctor said, like if I don't do anything, like I'm not going to be alive for another 10 years, something crazy like that. Or like I had another client tell me that, one day she dropped something, and she went to go bend down, pick it up. She went to go down, pick it up, and she couldn't get back up.
Wow.
And she was like, you know what? I need to do something about this. This isn't okay. So
Yeah,
that's your low
I
point.
hate how it
Yeah.
has to reach a point, but sometimes the human mind works that way. And I've been lifting for about 4 or 5 years now, and just last year I was scrolling on IG, saw you, and I said, "No way, this guy's right around the corner in Woodland Hills. He's a trainer there."
Yeah.
I joined Flex. The whole vibe was bodybuilding, and being in it for a little bit now, I'm thinking to myself, this is a really, really amazing industry. And because fitness changed my life, I thought I could give back. And this is why I chose to start working with gyms and personal trainers and bodybuilders, and being the fitness accountant. So it's an amazing world. And
That's a cool name.
yeah,
It's a cool name, by the way.
I always say, the discipline and consistency, the mentality that trainers and bodybuilders have is something that I've learned to utilize in my life. And I think it's a recipe for amazing things. So, yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful. Like, honestly, like for anybody to take accountability in their like physical fitness and like admit to themselves that there's something wrong, it's a huge step. And like initially, how much pounds did you lose? Like 45, something
bro.
more?
It was 70.
Wow, that's incredible. And you kept it off. Wow.
Yeah.
70 pounds. Wow. Did you meet anybody along the way? Like, is this something that you took upon yourself, like as a tax accountant, like, oh, I'm going to work with personal trainers now? Like, did you talk to somebody along the way, like maybe like an influencer, or like, did you follow? I know you follow a couple influencers, fitness influencers.
I probably have to say that in the beginning, a few years ago, I started, understanding what this fitness influencer community was like.
Because that's a big step. I mean, like, where were you working before that?
Yeah, so I've been at a few firms, and I just didn't get that desire to continue with the industries that I was with. I fell into fitness accounting because it really is the mindset. I did see like Ramon Dino, classic physique champ, stuff like that. But, I think really for me, it was the mentality that you and the industry has provided me, just made me want to gravitate toward helping those individuals, because they help so many people day in and day out be healthy and have a life that is sustainable.
Yeah.
So I
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Here's a question for you.
Okay.
So, and for personal trainers out there, curious, who are who's deciding to kind of branch off the commercial side and just kind of independently train on their own. What are some things we can do to kind of better prepare ourselves for our account, or like, I guess, how do we better keep track of our finances, or like, what do we actually need to think about before getting into, our own businesses,
So I think I really want to start with, the major differences between, let's say, being a W-2 employee at a commercial gym, and then going out and being an IC, independent contractor, with a private gym.
Right.
When you're an employee, you get a W-2, which means you have set hours, you work for somebody, you get a wage there.
Right.
With that, tax law doesn't provide many benefits that business owners get. Employees only just get their income, report that, pay tax on it, end of story. You don't get a lot of leeway. In the US, the tax law favors business owners
Right.
and entrepreneurship, and rightfully so. It pushes us to want to create and make something in society. So let's say you're at Flex right now. So,
Okay.
a lot of buzzwords that you might hear all the time is independent contractor. And, there's so many ways to say that in tax law. We say freelancer, we say self-employed individual, you can say gig worker. There's like a lot of ways to say that. Some people say small business employee, small business owner. But now
Gig worker, huh?
Gig worker, yeah. So now that you are an independent contractor at Flex, you have your own business. What that means is you file a Schedule C with your personal return. A Schedule C is an informal return schedule that lists your income and expenses that your business incurs and creates. So it doesn't make you, go out and get an LLC or S corp or kind of entity. You, by definition, have your own business without necessarily needing to create one. The IRS has done that to help taxpayers, not, make it as formal as it needs to be. Maybe in the few first years.
Is it smart to have an LLC or start an LLC?
So that's a very multifaceted question. So, I do get a lot of trainers that say, hey, Sam, LLC or S corp, or should I just stay as a Schedule C? So the best way to think about that is when you do formalize your entity, you now have to realize it comes with its own legal obligations and tax obligations. When you're a Schedule C, you are your business. Meaning personally and business is really just one. There's nothing that separates the two. But now when you create an LLC or another kind of entity, you are separate. You're distinct, what they say in tax law, from you personally. Your business is distinct from you. So now you have an entity that you are able to put in all your income and expenses and run it through separate from your personal return. And a lot of people like to create these entities to actually separate their personal stuff. So the IRS, you do hear that they can scrutinize your personal return. And if you have your Schedule C on there, you're giving them more leeway to look into your personal effects.
It might mix into some other expenses.
It makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So
building an LLC or starting one is gonna, in other ways, you'd say it's more organized.
It's more organized. So
it's a better way to track the spending and.
So accounting wise, now what you have to do is you legally have to start keeping track of your income and expenses and anything that you do business wise, because you will have an obligation to be more on top of your business. Legally, people like to open up LLCs or S corps because what it allows them to do is shield. It's a shield, or your personal assets cannot be touched unless you've committed fraud.
Right.
So a lot of people separate that, right? So if you were sued, for example, and you have a Schedule C right now, you don't have protections. So if you have an LLC or an LLC taxes an S corp, which I'll get into in a little bit, then you are, like I said, separate from your business.
Okay.
So your personal assets cannot be touched unless it's fraud. Or some kind of negligence on your part.
So starting out as a trainer, when you're beginning, it's not as imperative to do so as as compared to somebody who's about to start their own gym or has been training for 10 plus years.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. The recommendation is to keep Schedule C, a sole proprietor, for a few years, 2-3 years max. See if you're comfortable with, having your personal assets and personal name on the line. But, you can easily see that it might be a little more advantageous to kind of separate things, to have a little bit clearer mind and mentality. Some people are okay with that. They can pay for liability insurance within their sole proprietorship and not have to worry about anything. But, let's say someone slips and falls at the gym and, they're like, Russ, this is your fault. At that point, legally, it might get a little tricky, right? If you're a sole proprietor, you're a Schedule C. So
dang, I did not know that.
it's all about personal versus business, trying to separate the two. But you could easily buy liability insurance. And
well, it's required to work at Flex Gym, where I feel like a lot of these private gyms to have your own liability insurance.
Oh, beautiful.
You have to, some they require it. Can you explain the difference between LLCs and S corps?
Of course. So,
because you were saying it before, I feel like I need to kind of understand certain nuances between the two.
So, let's say it's been the 2 or 3 years that you've had your sole proprietorship, your Schedule C business.
Right.
Now you want to formalize things a little more because you want to, separate.
It's just bigger.
It's bigger. You want to separate your personal assets from your business. You want to be a separate entity. Now you get into LLC land. So LLC, limited liability company, you go and file with the Secretary of State, and now you've created an entity that is separate from you. It's a business that's separate from you, and its assets are separate from your assets should you ever be sued.
Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you this, though.
Yeah.
So gym owners, do they usually file as an LLC or an S corp? Or it just depends on how big the gym is, or like how
how big the gym is in terms of how many shareholders they have. Or I would have to say, for a majority of people in the fitness industry, an LLC that is taxed as an S corporation, which I'll get into a second, is a very smart move. There's also the route of creating a corporation and then filing it to be an S corp. So the LLC is one of the most versatile entities that we have in the U.S. An LLC, by nature, once the entity is created with the state, it is automatically taxed as a partnership,
right?
Unless it only has one owner. If it only has one owner, then it's what we call a single member LLC. And everything that you do is on your personal tax return. So it actually ends up exactly like it was when you were a
Schedule C.
Yeah.
Right.
So even though it is a separate entity, it comes back to your personal return, kind of mixing everything. Gyms and, let's say coaching businesses, these online coaches that have like 10 or 15 coaches with them, they can, depending on how many owners there are, they have the ability to create an LLC that's taxed as an S corporation. You go and file the taxes as an S corporation, or you can go and create a corporation and then have that be taxed as an S corp. So those are two different entities. S corporations are not entities, and this is something that's really important to get across and for you to know.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, I'm going to go with my attorney and create an S corporation. You actually can't. An S corporation is solely a tax filing. It's solely a tax basis of your entity, whether it is an LLC or a corporation, a regular corporation. So you go and tell the IRS, hey guys, now that I have my LLC or a regular corporation, I want to go ahead and tax it as an S corporation. And the reason why people tax things as an S corporation is it's not double taxed. when a regular corporation is created, we call it C corporations. The tax law is such that it is taxed twice. What that means is the corporation makes money. It comes into the entity itself. It is first taxed on that income. Once it is dispersed to the shareholders, it is
Okay.
taxed again.
Okay. See.
So it's
There it
double
is.
tax.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, that makes sense
yeah,
now. Okay.
that's a C corp
Okay.
structure. This is what a lot of companies try to avoid.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to the IRS and tell them that you want to create an S corporation, you bypass the entity level taxation, meaning the money that comes in is not taxed at the entity level. The corp doesn't pay tax. It is flowed through automatically to the owners, and the
Interesting.
owners are the ones who pay the income taxes. Does that
And
make sense?
Yeah, this was, I mean,
So that's
obviously
where-
it's legal.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why people, I know. Some people, I get that, like, wait, is that true? Like, does that even make sense? Can people do that?
Yeah. I was just like,
Yeah,
it's like a loophole, like a legal loophole. That you guys...
it's not really a loophole. It's just a classification the IRS has created in order to lift the burden from
Right.
the everyday business owner. So at that point, you are taxed on the income that flows through, we like to call it, to you personally when you're an S corp. So when you're an S corp, you have mandatory requirements of salary. This is where it gets,
Man.
yeah.
Let's talk about deductions, because I feel like that's what a lot of people are, wondering, especially if it's their first year as a personal trainer independently. What are some things? Because I've heard some crazy stuff. Like, you told me some crazy things too. I guess it depends on how aggressive you are as an accountant, right?
Honestly, I like to keep it as, honest and
Yeah.
right as possible. Clients have the ability to be aggressive if they choose, but it's my job to tell you what the law is and what the proper way of
Yeah, you got to manage expectations too, like I do. You got to manage expectations too, right?
Yeah.
So as an accountant, you still gotta, hey, tell them like, hey, this is, I'm gonna do my best to help you, and this is what I can do. We can try to go for it, but this is what I can do. What are some common things that, what are,
You want to play a game, Russ? You want to play a game?
Let's do it.
I call it D&D, deductible or not deductible.
Okay. All right.
This is fitness edition, guys. Let's get
Okay.
into it. So yeah, let's fire out some, a list of things that you want to know, and we'll go through them, and the mentality behind the tax law. And
Sure.
I feel like the most obvious one is maybe like gear, like gym equipment, straps.
not the other kind of gear.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, it's another question too. We'll talk about that too.
Okay. So gym gear. So
Yeah.
let's say the IPR bands, or you get
Ankle straps. You got medicine balls. Resistance bands. Those things.
let's say you're at a facility that doesn't provide you with everything that you need.
Yeah.
And you have clients with certain needs, and they need these kinds of gym equipment. 100% you could deduct it. If it's for the betterment of your clients and you're using it for your clients and your business, it's 100% deductible. So
Okay.
the IPR straps and bands that we use, you got that going. You got that good.
Okay,
you can
cool.
use that. Yeah.
How about cell phone usage? Making you're making client calls. You're doing assessments over the phone. You're video calling your online clients. What about that?
Also 100% deductible.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with you, because you use WhatsApp a lot on your phone. All of that, your monthly phone bill is deductible. There are some individuals who like to be a little more conservative, and I've done this in the past with a lot of clients. We could use a percentage of your phone bill, because let's be real,
You're not
working
making call.
24/7.
You're right.
So, a lot of people do, and they actually might have a separate business phone to do
Yeah.
that. But if you're mixing it with personal, let's say 20% of it is personal. So that means, 80% of all the charges can definitely be deductible on your schedule.
Yeah. Because you can do a lot of stuff with your phone nowadays.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like half the time, like I do a lot of my clients like nutritional like assessments over the phone. Like you can go on, I can adjust it. I can just send it through WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I do it like, I mean, I don't have a laptop. I do most of my work on my phone. So like even if you're not making phone calls necessarily, like you're still using your phone.
Yeah.
So I guess 80% would make sense too, because obviously you're not on the phone all the time, but you do work off your phone sometimes. A lot of people do, not even personal trainers. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about here's a good one. Here's a good one. Fuel. Gas.
So, yeah, this is an interesting one. So let's say
Deductible or not deductible?
deductible or not deductible. So you work at Flex,
Right.
and that actually counts as your office location.
Mm-hmm.
So the law is that the gas that you use, the auto expenses that you use to get from your home to your place of business is not deductible.
Okay.
That's because you have to go to your office. What they are allowing you to deduct is gas that you go off to client sites to, or let's say you personal train people at their homes.
Right.
Or you train people at a facility that is not your home gym. They have a facility maybe that you go to, but you're going into the office every day.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Back and forth and deduct.
Mm-hmm.
So not deduct.
Okay. Well, that rolls into the next one.
Okay.
If for example, Flex Gym is my home gym. If it's that private gym where I work out of, I pay rent there. Can I deduct my rent?
100%. Rent is fully deductible. Yeah, all you trainers who go to private training
All y'all.
facilities, all y'all, your
That's
rent
cool.
that you pay to that
Okay,
gym
makes
is
sense.
100% deductible.
Yeah.
Why? Because in order for you to do your job, you have to pay rent.
Right.
So you could definitely deduct that rent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apart from rent, a lot of trainers have to kind of recertify with CPR. They have to, recertify with their personal training certifications through ISSA, NASM, whatever certification they got it from. Would that be deductible?
What do you say?
I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes, just because, I mean, in order for me to actually stay and work at Flex, it's a necessity for me to keep working there and get my CPR certification.
Yeah.
And I have to be a personal trainer. I have to recertify for NASM. So
yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a condition of your job. So Flex requires the CPR cert.
Right.
NASM or ISA, whatever you guys use. In order for you to do your job, you need a license. You need that certification. So definitely 100% deductible to keep the business going.
Deductible.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Deductible.
Deductible. Okay.
here's the last one. What about supplements? My creatine.
Woo.
All right.
I get this question so much.
Like my Bacaz. All right. My fish oil. What else?
I'm gonna say everything is deductible except no, I'm kidding.
You're telling me
No, I'm kidding.
you're telling me my trenbolone can't be deducted? You think my fake pharmacist that gave it to me?
Guys. So when it comes to multivitamins and supplements, obviously those are huge in the fitness industry. If you're a personal trainer, you don't need that to run your personal trainer business. So not deductible. Multivitamin supplements are not deductible. They're personal expenses. So definitely not deductible. But I do want to get into
TRT.
a question that I actually do get asked a lot about in the bodybuilding community is, Sam, can I deduct my testosterone?
Well,
I went to the TRT clinic and I got this done. I'm a pro bodybuilder. Like, what's the deal with that, Sam? What's going on? So, first of all, uh,
It's
first
doctor
of all,
prescribed.
yeah. First of all, PEDs are what Schedule 3 substances. You can only use them if you have a prescribed note from a doctor. So, first of all, they're not deductible because you do not need that in order to be a bodybuilder. Anyone can be a bodybuilder
Right. Yeah.
naturally, and
Absolutely.
it's not a requirement or a necessity
Yeah.
or an ordinary expense.
Keyword necessity. It's
Yeah.
not a necessity.
So it's not ordinary. It's not necessary for that
Yeah.
job. Anyone can
Yeah.
become a bodybuilder. They
Mhm.
don't need Trent to do it. So definitely not a deductible expense. But then if we're getting technical, if you go to an endocrinologist and you are prescribed PEDs and stuff like that, they are deductible as medical expenses on your personal return
Mhm.
if a doctor
Has prescribed it. Okay.
so
Okay.
it has nothing to do with the business, cannot be deducted there. But if a doctor allows you to, they can be deducted on a personal return,
Mm.
given some floors and limits and all that.
Mm.
But that's for an episode another time.
Yeah.
So yeah, Russ, what, to sum it up, do you want clients to take away from your style of training, your core values, and what you bring to the table to assist them?
Ultimately, I just want my clients to, honestly, I just want them to have fun. I want them to see, fitness as something, as, a stress-free environment, it's their safe place, their time to, it's a type of self-care. I feel like a lot of people, my goal is to kind of like help them see it that way, that it's not like, oh, I gotta go to the gym and work out. Like, I mean, like I have those days too where I'm like, man, I don't want to work out, but
You still push.
I push, some days like, okay, I'm not gonna work out today. There's no way, It's just, it might do you more harm than good. But, ultimately, you want that to be your type of self-care, because it is. You're taking care of your body. I mean, who doesn't want a nice pump, ultimately, I want my clients to I want them to, like, I train in different styles, right? So it depends on what type of client I have. I have some clients who just don't like being pushed. And that's totally fine. And it's funny because those clients are the ones I've had the longest. But I have my ways to make them push. I have my ways. I'm very slick, but like some of them, like I noticed that, the ones who haven't played sports or like any type of activity that may have like forced themselves to kind of like exert. Those,
Remember you telling me?
yeah. Usually the people who's played sports before, like they push, and to be real, they honestly experience the most change, and they enjoy it the most. Some who kind of don't like being pushed, I have to be kind of tricky with them, and they're kind of more, I guess, delicate. Because like obviously I want them to come back. If any trainer can make someone hurt. Any trainer can make somebody sore. Any trainer can do that. You just sit there and just like, okay, till you get tired. Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
But the trick is to kind of like, make them push themselves in a way where like, okay, like that wasn't so bad. And that's what keeps them coming, and that's
You coming.
yeah, that's what, my goal is, just have a fun, safe environment. I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do. I wouldn't force you to do something that I wouldn't do, and that's really it. I'm just 100% transparent, managing expectations. Just honestly, sometimes you're just their therapist. And I'm not, qualified. I'm not a qualified therapist. I didn't go to school for it, but you're also there for them. Sometimes they had a bad day, and as a trainer, you want to be that little light. Maybe towards the end of the day, or that's how they start their morning. If they had a good time, they had a good workout, they're gonna have a great day. That's all it really is. It's just you're just that extra leg of I guess support for a lot of people, and that's pretty much what people use personal trainers for. I feel like as like that support, somebody to talk to if they're down, or like somebody to push them, make them work.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sam, to sum this up, as the fitness accountant, you're probably the most jacked accountant I've ever talked to be honest. Like you're probably the most shredded accountant I know. What do you want, people to know? What do you want personal trainers? What do you want gym owners to know about yourself, or how to contact you?
I would have to say that I want my clients to understand that honesty is the best policy when it comes to your finances.
Right.
Don't kid yourself. Make sure that you have the income to sustain yourself. And I really believe that accounting is a way to discipline yourself. If you're aware of your income and expenses and you account for them and you properly budget, you're able to live a better life,
Right.
Without, constantly going into debt and having, it's important to have those tools to be financially stable.
Exactly.
People need to know that you're here to help them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really want clients, especially the fitness community, to understand that you can't get by not having accounting and taxes for the rest of your life if you truly care about your financial well-being.
Exactly.
So Russ, let's talk about the bodybuilding community. It's something that we both, enjoy. You've obviously competed a few times. This guy's a freaking mess over here, by the way, guys. Just this past Monday, it was announced, Buys and Tries and Bodybuilders Beyond Borders, that in Brazil, they now have something called a men's wellness class. So, what are your thoughts on this? And, tell me more about it.
Honestly, like I heard about it. I don't know when or if it's even going to come to NPC here and IFBB, but it was interesting, honestly, just because, one, I was confused to why it was like, of all the divisions, why wellness, it was just really, it just took me off by surprise, right? I honestly am not, and it's very controversial. I personally, I am not really bothered by it. It's men's wellness. If they're planning to compete with other men, I don't see it as being a problem at all. I think it will start to cause a lot of, controversy and issues once it starts mixing with, men and women. I am curious though, because biologically men can get some big legs. So I'm like curious to see how the judging criteria will be, because I'm pretty sure like in the Olympia stage, there's some criteria or like subdivision of like judging where there's femininity for at least women's wellness. So like, how is that going to translate to men? Are they going to look for femininity, or like, is that even going to be a thing? Like I'm curious to see what the proportions will look like. We're going to have like, I think Derek Lunsford legs and like Bundia top. Like, that's going to be interesting to see. I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
What the NPC and IFBB did officially, they put out a statement that they said, in America, men's wellness is not going to be a division yet. So calm down, guys, because I know there's been a big
calm down, guys.
There's going to be a big, there was a big uproar.
I like how they're like, they had to make that announcement. They had to be like, they had to,
But, yeah, no, honestly, as long as they have their own respective, category, and then, it's men's wellness competing with men's wellness, I don't see it as an issue. Now, I'm also curious to see like how big a pool if it's going to be. Like, are we going to start seeing this in national shows? Like, there's going to be like a pro category. Like, that's going to be interesting. You know, I mean, like, I don't know how much, men are actually going to be in this division. So like, it's going to be interesting.
A really cool thing that I heard, I think it might have been Phil Heath that said this actually, is, there are currently 5 divisions at the Olympia for men, and there's 6 for women. So one of the things that they can add to the men's side is men's fitness.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Something,
Yeah, the women's. Yeah.
that,
Yeah, that's right.
They have costumes, like they're more in a dancey kind of thing, and
Yeah.
twirl, and they do all that kind of stuff, more acrobatic, right?
Gyrating. Yeah.
Gyrating.
Yeah.
So, possibly adding a 6th division one day to the Olympia.
Men's fitness is definitely an option.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's already a women's wellness.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, like that goes back to what I said. I'm I'm just curious to why it was just like out of all the divisions, why wellness?
Yeah.
What's Brazil though? They're obsessed with like legs and butts.
Brazilian butt lift, right?
Yeah, they're obsessed with it. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not gonna have an issue with it. I mean, everyone has their reservations about it. I mean, my life goes on.
So one last thing to leave this all off with is, let's say I go to my endocrinologist next week because I want to start a cycle, bro. What is it? What is your view on gear?
Oof. Okay, what's my view on gear? Someone is starting out. I think it's important to, I guess, build your habits first. Build an eating habit first. Build that training habit first. That baseline. Train hard. Keep track of your diet. Because once you get on PEDs, once you get on gear, get on a cycle, you need to look after your health even more, tenfold.
Like you got to get blood work.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
So many people are normalizing, gear and cycles. Like they don't even bodybuild. Now it's your choice whether what you want to do with your body or not. Whatever you want to do is up to you. But I feel like a lot of people here are misinformed, and they don't look after their health. They'll do a cycle and they just never get off, and then their blood work is jacked. Their liver is jacked, their kidneys are jacked.
For a few years at least before
Yes,
start even getting
like some people like start gear without before they even get on stage. It makes no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah. You don't know
Like you don't even know if you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
They go on these like 3-4 cycles and they haven't even gotten on stage yet. Don't even know what they can do naturally. It sucks because they'll never know how much they could push their body naturally because they started, using first. Right. They'll never know.
Heard it here first, guys. Well,
that was fun.
It was fun stuff. It was really great to have you on the show, bro.
Thank you.
Financial fitness, Russ, Sam.
Yeah, till next time.